Single point probes are a great way to extract information from the part and can be used to correlate simulation results to outputs from sensors placed throughout the mold. Instead of guessing, you can get clear, data driven insight into process behavior and part quality. Whether you're troubleshooting defects or optimizing your molding process, probes can help you make smarter decisions faster. I'm Alex Baker, and welcome to another Moldex3D Advanced Tips and Tricks. The probe function in Moldex3D can be found in two places. You can either go through the Result tab, and then over towards the right side in the Measurement section, there's a probe function here. There is actually a quick way to access this function, and that's down here at the bottom right corner of the screen. You can find the probe button as a shortcut down here at the bottom. It's a very, very important function, so we put it down here. All right, when you're using the probe function, it's quite literally just putting a point object. If you are looking to query the surface, I recommend to have the mesh snap activated. If you'd like your snap toolbar to look like what I have down here, it is actually quite useful to have all of the buttons laid out like this instead of under a dropdown. You can do that by going up to your preferences and then display, snap, and you can switch to classic mode to put all the buttons as individual toggles on the bottom right corner of your screen. All right, having the mesh snap active, I can use the probe function to place a point object on the surface of my part. And I'm going to put several along the length of flow so we can query multiple locations later on. Once I've placed all of these probes, I can then extract the single point information from any result that I want in Moldex3D. For example, I can go to the filling and temperature result, and I can use these probes as thermocouples or a correlation to thermocouples that I would have placed in my mold that are querying the temperature on the surface of my geometry. And we can turn on the name, which is the name of the probes. You can edit this name if you go over to your model tree. You can see these names here, right click, rename, and I can call this whatever I want to. If I have a thermocouple that this is supposed to correlate to, or a pressure sensor, or whatever. And we can turn on the name, which is the name of the probes. You can edit this name if you go over to your model tree. You can see these names here, right click, rename, and I can call this whatever I want to. If I have a thermocouple that this is supposed to correlate to, or a pressure sensor, or whatever, you can name it whatever you want to. And in addition to that, you can also show the location of these probes, which shows your XYZ coordinate. If you wanted to, while you're placing these probes, you can also input the XYZ coordinate here. If you know what that is from your CAD system, the coordinate system in Moldex3D is using the same exact coordinate system as what you used in your CAD, assuming that you didn't move the part at all. All right, but the most important information that we want from these probes is probably the value. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll show the name and the value. The location is usually a little bit of information overload, so I'm going to get rid of the location from these probe tags. And one added thing, you see that there's two numbers here. This is the temperature, in this case in Celsius and Fahrenheit. Activate a dual unit display in Moldex3D 2025 by going up to your preferences, unit and number, and then there is a secondary drop down. And then there is a secondary drop down for your units. You can change this from none to whatever other unit system you want displayed, whether you want this in Kelvin or Fahrenheit. And you can actually change these on the fly as well. If you wanted this to be Fahrenheit for a moment and then switch back to Kelvin, that is something that you can do. Now, this probe information isn't only just useful for single point data. There's a lot of other things that we can do with probes that are maybe not as intuitive. And so I'm going to show a few of those off here. The first thing is that we can group these probes into a probe group. I can go to my model tree, highlight all of my probes, right click, and add to probe group. I'll create a new group here. We'll just call it group one. And you can change the color of these probes as well, just like you can change the color of any other data in the model tree. I can actually export all of this probe data over to Excel. As you might have already seen, when I highlight my probes, I can right click and export to CSV. I can choose my location and then open the file automatically. And this will not only export in Excel for the data of temperature, since that's the result that's showing here, It also exports a bunch of other result data as well that might be interesting to you. The information that's exported here is selected as a default, and you can query and manipulate this information however you want to, since this is just Excel data. Now, if I want to use this information for comparison to other runs, there's a very useful tool that gets overlooked quite a bit, and that is the copy probe function. I can go to the model tree, highlight my probes, right click, and copy probes, and that will allow me to transfer these exact probe locations from this run to any other runs in my project. I'll check the run that I want to copy them to, and I'm also going to check the box down here at the bottom that says keep probe group, so I can make sure that this group that I've applied in this run also applies to the other run as well. All right, in this project specifically, I have one run that is a nylon 6.6 material, and then the other one here has a PCABS material. And if I switch over to my other run, I can see that these probes are already there and that the probe group is already applied. Now, extracting single point data is not the only thing that these probes are good for. These probes can also be used to extract transient data in addition to just the single point data at the current time step. Obviously, if I were to route through my different time steps, of course, the information at the probes will change accordingly. But what if I wanted to graph that information over time? What if I wanted to see how this temperature changed versus time? Well, for that information, I can actually create an XY plot using the history function up in the result tab. All right, so I go up to history. Now, typically the history is used to plot the result curves from Moldex3D. So something like sprue pressure, I could manually plot the sprue pressure graph from this history function. But in this case, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on these drop downs over on the left side. I'll click on the drop down for data. I'll change molding property to be either all probes, or you can see the different probe groups show up here. So I can click on the group one, and then I can plot all 4 probes and add them over to the right side. And all 4 of those probes for this current run are going to be plotted on the XY axes here. Now you can see that the temperature decreases over time, and the start of these curves indicates when the melt front interacted with that probe. The resolution of this plot is dependent on the number of time steps that you output, so a larger time step number will result in more resolution for this curve. You can see that there's a data point here, a data point here. You can see where these data points actually are, and these are actually things that you can put onto the curve. If you didn't want this to be a smooth curve, if you actually want to see where those data points are output, then you can either turn those on through the axis options up at the top right corner of the curve, or you can just right click on your temperature and you can see what time step outputs are over here. In addition, if I wanted the probes from the other run to be plotted here, I can do that as well in a singular operation. All right, so I can change my run number to run 2. I have the same probe group there, so that's what shows up here automatically. And then I can throw all 4 of those probes onto the same set of axes as well, so I can get an apples to apples comparison. Similarly to what we showed with the probe information being able to be exported to Excel, you can also export this transient data to Excel as well. So through this history plot, I can go down to the bottom right corner here and hit CSV, and that will allow me to create an Excel file where I can visualize and maybe even graph and manipulate the information that I'm seeing in the plot. And I can do that for multiple runs, multiple projects, however you want to manipulate that data is up to you. Now, another bit of information that we can get is the thickness distribution. And this is particularly useful in 2 different aspects of molding. Now, theoretically, I could plot these probes along the thickness direction. Actually, I can do that by just taking a slice of my part or a clip of my part. Maybe I do an XY clip. All right, and let's say I want multiple probes along the thickness direction here. I can actually place these probes onto this clipping plane. And you can do this with slicing as well. So I can use probe, and then I can just plot a bunch of probes through the thickness onto that plane. And then similarly to before, we can add these to a probe group And then we could extract the data from those probes depending on the result information that we're looking for. All right, so now if I go back to temperature, you can see all of that information. I could plot this on an XY axis if I wanted to. But what if I wanted a higher resolution graph, and instead of it being dependent on my accuracy in selecting these probe locations, what if I just wanted a plot down through the thickness? Well, I can actually do that using the thickness plot tool. Going back over to my original probe locations, what this function will do is it will take the location of our probe, which has to be on the surface of our part, and then it will find the normal direction to the connecting surface. It'll find the next surface that that vector comes in contact with, and it'll plot a certain number of data points along that thickness direction. We can access this function using the thickness tool right next to the history tool that we just used earlier. This function is only available for probes, so we see that the all probe will show up here, and we do want to pay attention to what result we're looking for. I can select all my probes, add over to the right side, and so we can get a feel for what the temperature distribution through the thickness looks like at the end of fill. That's the time step that we're currently looking at. And so we can see for probe 1, which is right here, it looks like the core temperature is a little bit higher than the rest of the probes, but the frozen layer is actually a little bit thicker than what we see, for example, at probe 4. Towards the end of flow, we can see that the frozen layer at probe 4 is actually quite a bit thinner, maybe because the material's fresher. It hasn't had as much time to cool down. But you can get a feel for both the slope of the frozen layer, the thickness of the frozen layer, as well as the raw temperature in the middle or in the core of the geometry. And the other reason I see this function used is for fiber orientation. So if I'm using a fiber filled material, in the case of my first run here, I can go to fiber, and we can see the orientation plot across the part. But what if I wanted to see the orientation in the flow direction, the transverse to flow direction, and the out of plane direction? In this case, that would be the Y is the flow direction, as we can see in the axis down here at the bottom right corner. The Z is transverse to flow, and X is out of plane. Let's say I wanted to see all three of those curves plotted on the same set of axes. I could do that using the thickness plot. Right, so at any probe, I can add multiple different types of curves. So for example, in this case, I would want fiber orientation XX, fiber orientation YY, and fiber orientation ZZ. All right, and once I have all three of those overlaid, now we can really see what the fiber orientation variation looks like across the thickness of the part from the probe over here on the left side of the curve to the opposite surface over on the right side. This is a thickness as a percentage, so once we get to 100%, that would represent the opposite surface from where the probe is located. For fiber orientation specifically, all three of these values added up should always equal 1. So where there's a high orientation in one of the curves, there should be a low orientation in the others, and vice versa. Now, the other way that we can use probes is to just plot them as a group. Just, I want this value, this value, this value, this value plotted on an XY axis. That's actually what I was referring to earlier when I was putting multiple probes along the thickness direction. We can use the thickness tool in that case, but in the case where I want to see the temperature distribution, the temperature value for this probe and all of the other probes in the probe group, if I want to see those plotted on an XY axis, I can do so using distribution. This can be particularly useful if you have, for example, circumferential measurements. If I have probes along the outer edge of my part, I can plot that directly using the distribution function. So just to the right of the thickness tool is distribution. And this function will utilize a probe group. You will need a probe group in order to utilize this function. All right, so let's say I want temperature, and I wanted the temperature plotted for each one of these probes, the 4 probes in my probe group. I'll select my probe group here, add, and just like the other functions we've used for history and thickness, you can also plot the run2 probe group on top of this to get a comparison for how the temperature was different in this case between the different runs. Thank you for watching this advanced tips and tricks. If you'd like to see another topic covered in the future, you can leave a comment below. Please leave a like on your way out, and you can subscribe to the Moldex3D North America YouTube channel for notifications when videos like this get released in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.